How's it going, George?
Good. How are you doing, Nick?
Good. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Two Guys Edit Podcast, episode 6.
Is it episode 6 already?
Yeah, 6. Because
It
we did
is.
5 on. We did 5 on
that's
Friday.
right.
We're trying to do back to back
Man.
right now because, like, here in Montreal, we're trying to get the last moments of summer. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like
It's
pretty
nice
crazy.
to be here at Air de Commune.
Yeah, Air Commune is pretty cool. It's like WeWork does a little thing with them. Not a little thing, but they have a bureau
Office
here,
space?
office space
Yeah,
here with
so-
the. There's like bars here, and it's for 1 month. It's until I think till 17th or something
like that, yeah, September 17th.
Yeah, and so it's cool. And like this is one of their little spots. There's like
Yeah, I like the
hammocks and people.
hammocks,
Yeah,
honestly.
the hammocks are quite
Yeah,
special.
they're really nice.
They're really something else.
We'll need to get some footage with the
Oh,
hammocks.
of course, yeah. And it's just yeah. And so, how was your weekend?
It's pretty good. It
Yeah?
was busy.
Good.
Yeah, no, like I tried to do a bunch of work and then I also just took time off.
Yeah,
'Cause it's-
time off is always good.
It's always that I always find that balance is hard for me because I want to be working all the time, but I realize that I need to not be like working all the time
Totally.
to get inspired to actually then be able to bring interesting content in.
Yeah.
So I watched Futurama.
Nice.
for-
Oh, that's a good
yeah.
degreaser.
It is.
You know, like
it's one of those things like I think it doesn't get the credit it's due because it's such a smart show.
Oh yeah, forever. So it's always
Yeah.
gonna have that mentality because it's been like forever, and like it got canceled and back and then canceled and
Yeah.
back. Like nobody understood where it was really going. Well, the I mean, like the big wigs, I'm sure didn't
Yeah.
understand it, but like the hardcore fans understood that it had this, very special thing that was not The Simpsons, that was not Family Guy. It was just something kind
It's
of
its own thing. Yeah.
It's a personal thing for a
It's
lot
such a
of people.
nerdy thing.
Really, yeah, super nerdy,
Yeah.
totally. And yeah, so and then you told me recently. Well, you told me this morning you're now daily vlogging again.
I am
That's
back
cool.
to daily vlogging. I know it.
The edit flow for that's gonna change.
It is, but like I like the challenge because I realized
It's a challenge for sure.
it is. It's just
Yeah.
because like the reason I decided like okay, it's time to get back to daily vlogging was the fact that one of the shows that I'm doing right now is actually predicated on me filming from time to time, anyways. So I was looking back at the last 2 months because that's the amount of time I've had to like work on the show,
Right.
and I just never pulled out the camera because it never felt right. And now I'm looking back, I'm like, I should have just been daily vlogging the entire time to be able to mine that footage.
I see.
Yeah, it's also the fact that I think I like the structure of the daily vlogs so much just because you have a set timeline that you need to release. There's no like keeping it in post forever.
No.
It's
Okay.
one and done.
Yeah,
which
one
I
done.
like.
Yeah, it's a particular
Yeah.
style for sure, and I think it's a cornerstone of being a visual creator, and
Yeah.
it's like it's a real part of the four corners of being a good editor or being a good old jack of all trades, but also just being a person who just. It's like sketches almost like
Yeah.
for a painter. It's
Yeah.
like sketching and getting ideas.
It's like doing
and then
scales, I
yeah.
find.
It's like doing scales too as
Yeah,
well. Totally.
it's just that idea that it's
Yeah.
something repetitious that you can get better at every single day.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's also really, really good for people that don't have like the technical like knowledge from like an external party.
Oh,
where
yeah,
you're
yeah.
learning by yourself. I think that's like the best way to weather it, just because
totally. It's really the
yeah,
best way. I
you
think so,
get
too.
put through the fire and
yeah.
flames.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
Yeah.
they did like I remember when I did it. It was just like when I did for a very extensive
Mm-hmm.
period of time. It was really that. It was just kind of like layering the bricks, of the house
Yeah.
that never is going to be finished in a way. Because you're always, if you think that you're
Yeah.
at a point that you're like, oh, now I'm okay, you're kind of not. I think you're still not. I
Yeah.
think like it's always a flow. It's always something that keeps going. Like when you find some people who make certain vlogs or certain things constantly, and they just kind of fall into their own
Yeah,
step.
they get
I think
into,
it's
into a template.
in a template, which
Yeah. Which is good for timing
Yeah.
and like you get to push things out. But
yeah, for me, I would
hard, yeah.
stop. I would be like stop, and I would try to make something completely fresh and
Yeah.
like the opposite, like walk in the other direction type of thing, and see
Yeah.
where that goes.
Yeah.
Because why not? Because then you're learning other styles and all those types of things, but that's exciting.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's one of those things like having done it already once before for 4 months straight.
Yeah.
It's now like okay, like let me push to the boundaries of like what I used to do, and that's what I'm trying to think. It's like right now I'm going to be focusing a lot more on B-roll because the first time I
Me
did
too.
it
I'm the same.
is like I did it very much just like as an experiment, more to be able to be like, am I okay with being on camera all the time? Because I am not someone that wanted to ever be famous and front facing, but I realized
Like most people.
Yeah.
Like 99%.
of course because like
All
I
of
also have
us.
my introverted tendencies, so I'm like it just I also stammer on camera all the time, and so just that practice of okay, I can sit down and look at myself and edit, and then B get to the point where like I get to the information that I want to get out.
Totally.
So it's just that exercise was the first time around.
Yeah, that's the
Now it's
process.
like more okay, how can I make this visually interesting and really work with those elements?
Yeah, yeah.
Now that I've had the experience to
Yeah.
really like get the equipment that I want and understand everything more particularly.
And also like you said, to articulate all the
Yeah.
things you want to articulate person-wise. You have the gear, and then you've been working on presentation of yourself, and it's all good, like those are all the quintessential pieces that you have to have in order to make something something you're proud of, each time. And having that sense of being proud every day, that was a great thing that when I was doing it, like I'm sure you had the same sensation when you're like, oh, it's done, this is great. Even during that whole time, I didn't have like, oh, it's done, thank goodness. I was like, oh, this is great, I have it out. And now I feel like it's disposable in a way too. So it's just like, there it is, next one. There it is, next one. I always,
because you never get too caught up, because like there's always the next day to think about.
Yeah, totally. And the next day should be something that's brand new and fulfilling and all those things. And in the music world for me, I always thought of it. Everyone always described scales, but also we describe pieces as disposable. Like you learn the piece, you know it, put it away. It's disposable pieces, disposable scales, disposable everything. Because what you're really working towards is sharing your skill and sharing your passion and knowledge. That's the end result. It's just sharing out. So having the ability to share out at that point in time. So it's just us like in creating videos, we're sharing our viewpoints. So we were talking about books before, and like there's Austin Kleon, and there's also another book. But there was another one that was also part of the Berkeley curriculum, which is called Zen in the Art of Archery.
Oh, okay.
It's super amazing, and it goes beyond the whole rule of 10,000. Like it's not about the rule of 10,000. It's really the just feeling one with what you're doing, and whenever that point comes, you know, and then moving on, and then feeling the ebb and flow. It's very, very good. I'll have to lend it to you because it's such a good book. It's a short read, but it's like perfect. It just puts your feet right inside the ground, and you're like, where did this come from? It's like Austin Kleon, but the opposite direction, you know, like, and you're just like, wow, it really is like that as well. Like it's both worlds, you know, like it's also the acquiring perfection, and then also living through to the journey of perfection, which never actually comes. You know what I mean? So it's and you never think about that journey as well, because it's like, we live in this world that's
because like our world is set where you need to be the best at what you're doing constantly. And I know, like think about how we judge people. Like
exactly.
Michael Phelps, you talk about how he has the most gold medals. You talk about Usain Bolt being the fastest man alive. We need that epitome of like being the best at something. But like when it comes to creativity, there is no best. That's the most frustrating thing I find.
Yeah, and even in sport, like you were saying, like it's so hard because a lot of people are like performance instead of just thinking about the journey of the performance. Imagine those millions of people that do marathoners. They live through that their whole life. They're not going to be the best at it, but they do it, and they go through this journey. I haven't seen much that's articulated that, but I'm sure it'd be so interesting to see how people like marathoners also articulate how they articulate living through and living and enjoying the run, not thinking about the masters or any of those things. It's like I'm sure a lot of people like
it because you love it.
Yes, exactly, and that's what that book's basically about. And it's super amazing. It's about this guy who just an American, I think, who goes and tries to learn archery, but Japanese archery, I think.
Okay,
and it's very, very like. It's just beautiful. And like I said, it's part of the Berkeley curriculum, like a music curriculum, a book about nothing to do with music.
Yeah, this Berkeley curriculum just sounds insane because you've told me about it.
Oh yeah, you have to.
And it just seems like they're really doing things off the wall.
Oh my God, it is off the wall.
Yeah.
Like all the people there, people tend not to finish at Berkeley. They usually get to third year and then they go out in the real world because they're like hustling as well.
Yeah.
But they learn all the ropes about business practices and contracts and all those things, and their skills. They learn their skills as well. So. They have a crazy rate, but if you ever go to Boston, you go downstairs in the Berkeley bookstore. It's right in the basement. You just bypass all the shirts and all the all the stuff, and it's just this little room with all these books that are just like almost half of them are not even music, and it's just like these philosophy books and how to get
That seems like a well-rounded education at that point.
Oh,
which it should be. I think most universities should be pushing more for that at this point.
Totally.
Than just like uber specialized, and you're just gonna be at least. Some universities go like the uber academic path where like if you're not in academia, like why are you here type of deal.
And that's what Berkeley is. It's non-academia. That's why it's kind of frowned upon to the rest of the whole academia world, because it's really special there. Like a lot of amazing musicians came out of that place. So it's so that's really it about. Yeah. But I'm excited for you. It's gonna might motivate me to do a couple more episodes soon. But as soon as I finish my whole,
of course. Like, what was your decision process when you decided to stop?
when I stopped. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, when did I stop? Okay, so I stopped there. I just had other projects.
Yeah.
And then like it kind of didn't stop directly. It kind of became sporadic because
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I actually have other now because I had so many projects accumulate as soon as I was about to finish. But I was like, oh, I better not finish. I should just do a couple more. And then
Yeah.
it just came like once a week for a while, then nothing. Then other because I was doing other projects. Like I wasn't,
Yeah.
I was unloading onto other channels, you know, and other projects for other clients. So, but like I didn't want to ever stop.
Yeah.
But I felt that I also was in a little bit of a rut. And then I tried to do episodes that were completely the opposite of what I was doing.
Yeah.
So that was like near the end. And then less like, you know, time lapsing and all those things. Like I was more wanted to do like like just single shots because
Yeah.
I had if you start from the beginning from when I did the big set of it last year, it was very complicated shots, almost like 200 300 shots every episode, you know. It was very long, and then it came down to the end to just being one shot, no cuts almost.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like 3 minutes. I want to say my point, and then it's done because I had two visual
Yeah.
aesthetics because I was really working on it looking good, you know, the image looking
Yeah.
good. And if I changed, if I had to pick a different scene or cut it or go somewhere else, I had to think just as hard as that, and I didn't want to do that. It was
Yeah.
so time
That makes
consuming
sense.
because I was at that point that I was like, I really just want something that looks nice and beautiful, even if it's just one clip, one
Yeah.
solid clip, you know. So it was a lot to do with just work
Yeah.
and clients,
Just like, yeah, just the time
you
you
know,
were out.
timing, and people were. I was getting more gigs then, so I was like, I don't have time for it. But I had so many things that were happening
Yeah.
that I couldn't document, and so like I was saying this morning, I might get a new little point and shoot because I want to have that in my pocket just in case, so I can just go boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
and not have to worry about bringing my Joby and bringing my cage and all those things. It's weight, you know, and I have to carry that
It
around
is.
with me, and like
Oh,
you know,
you don't have to
Oh.
tell me, man. I lugged all my gear up the
yeah,
mountain
you
this
looked at
morning.
that's crazy.
It was a
That's nuts.
solid half-hour walk.
Oh my god,
It was
burning
cold.
calories.
Yeah, I know. That's my workout for the morning, right
Yeah,
there.
I bet.
Oh man, but like, I was also like so happy to have everything though.
Of course,
It was
sure.
like the nicest feeling, but I was like, was this worth half an hour of like me lugging up 3 cameras,
And you're like, yes,
a
it
camera, like 2 tripods? Because I also, to be fair, I didn't use all the equipment because I was also bringing all that stuff in because like we're doing the podcast
we're
this
doing
morning.
podcast
So
this
like,
morning,
well,
yeah.
I'm just like not gonna pack 2 bags. So
is. No.
Yeah.
But that's a dream, right? Is to also just have
a pack mule to carry everything for
yeah,
you.
carry everything for you. You know what I mean? Like I wish I had like a virtual, like a drone that would just had the biggest
Ooh.
battery and just fly everywhere with you with all your gear and just land it down. Like I've
Yeah,
got my
like a
stuff,
personal
boom, boom.
robot
Oh,
assistant.
a personal robot assistant.
Yeah.
That'd be the end result. And if it was super reliable,
Yeah.
you know. But now everything's getting smaller, so I'm happy about that.
Because you are such an economic person when it comes to
Yeah.
space. I'm always impressed. Like you,
Because I research a lot about this stuff, and because also even recently and even for a long time, I always think about feng shui and stuff like that, and like more about like what is the purpose of what I'm using, you know?
Yeah.
What does it serve the purpose I need, and does it also serve the space around me as well? So like I always try to reduce, and like even in my office at home, it's all like everything has its place. But
Yeah.
that took forever to do though. Like I was always a big slob before,
Yeah.
and then through the past 2-3 years, I've developed this, you know, more cleaner aesthetic, and it's all about
kind of
just,
like taking a mise en place kind of idea.
Exactly.
Where just like you have everything ready before like you even have to touch it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's been really helpful for me, and just like reducing. I always think I always want to reduce and still have the same results. So I always look for that and think like the drone. Like the drone, it's small. It doesn't do exactly what I want, but it does a lot of the things I do want. So
Yeah.
it outweighs and gets rid of things. And I like getting rid of things. I like disposing things and not never needing to use it
So
anymore.
it's almost like you want to be in a way constrained by
yes, yeah,
like just so you have to be more creative.
exactly, exactly. And like it forces me to be way more creative and not to think about like, do I need better mics? No, I don't, because I've studied enough about microphones that I'm like, what purpose will it deliver to me? You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't need podcasting microphones. I don't need a specific microphone to mic a piano. I can mic a piano with my ears because it's all about placement and position. When I
Yeah.
learned at the end of it, all of it, you know. So it's all about like a balance. It's a question of balance too, you know. So yeah, I try to also just keep things as pristine as possible,
Yeah.
which is a thing of mine that I like doing. But like
No.
some things also last long, like Zoom H4 and all those
Yeah.
things. They last forever. Some of them last forever. They don't build them like they used to. But I mean, some do last long. But
Yeah.
like,
But I feel
Yeah.
like, especially with the higher end gear, they do last a long time.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's like,
yeah.
I think no lenses, man. Those can last 20 years
yeah,
if you take
totally.
care of it properly.
Yeah, lenses, yes, of course. When you,
Yeah.
yeah. And like at that point, like something really short, at that point, that was the high end. So
Yeah.
it's going to last forever unless something goes wrong. But I mean, you know, if you, I always try to not, not spend too much, spend less, you know, like
Yeah.
cheap out, you know, because then that's not going to last forever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's like you're
even
not
no
rich
matter
enough
how good- yeah.
to be spending every single
Exactly.
time. Like,
Totally.
Yeah.
If you're not able to replace, if you're not able to repair it, or if you're not able to repair it, you should not buy something cheap.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because most electronics you can repair. Like most people, I've seen a lot of stuff like that, and I repair things. If
Mhm.
an LED burns out, I know it's because of this capacitor. I test
Yeah.
it, boom, done. But I mean, like, for most people, it's like junk. So people should spend, like, for a lighting kit, like we were talking
Mhm.
this morning. You got to spend on it because
Yeah.
it's gonna last you at least 10 years.
It's because
you know?
the way I always look at it with the purchase is like, how often do you use that item?
yes, how often?
And then,
That's
like,
it.
imagine like if you're renting it every single time, like
Oh my
how
God,
much are you
renting.
actually gonna make it? Like that's
Renting,
when are you gonna
gee,
come
yeah.
back to it? Like
Yeah.
that's like it's the same way like I look at clothes, for example. It's
Mm.
like I buy a shirt, maybe I buy like one that's not like $5, but a $20 shirt. But the $20 shirt will last, like 50 to 70, 100 wears, whatever.
Yeah, 100 wears,
Versus the
exactly.
$5 shirt, which is like you're done in 5. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
at least sometimes.
you're spending
yeah.
way less
Yeah.
per use.
Yeah.
But like the upfront cost seems just scary.
Totally, and like
Mm.
that's really it. And then, oh yeah, it's something when you think about.
I think that's in the way. I'm not
We
sure.
got plants going everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I love this space. Anyways, this space
It's
is
so
pretty amazing.
open. I don't.
It's
Man, I wish I knew about this a little earlier.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I just knew literally on the day of when they had the
They opened
big
it,
open
yeah.
thing, but it was like it's really quite just like throw it down, you know.
It's very startup feel.
Oh, it is,
Which I love.
totally.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
that airy, hey, come kind of work at some cool hip space.
Hit place, you know, and that's
Yeah.
really it. Yeah. So, any future things going on for you? 'Cause I know
Right
this-
now, it's just like all the projects that I have
Right.
lined up. So releasing content soon, September
Good.
6th and September 8th.
Jeez,
or
that's really soon. That's
like,
like
yeah,
next week.
next week.
Oh, yeah, next week-ish, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just like that's like the hard deadlines for the 2 shows I'm starting.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, just like in talks with a bunch of other people for different projects. It's like I kind of just am looking at this point just to find someone that wants to spearhead a project. So and like they're gonna focus on the storytelling aspect, and I'm just there to like focus on the technical.
Yeah,
Because like
capturing it.
yeah, and it's like because like I at this point like, again that's what I'm focusing on right now is just like how can I tell the cleaner story and like really capture it visually and like auditory. And so like that's kind of my focus right now. It's like the storytelling. It's never been my strong suit, and right now I'm gonna kind of just like, give it out. Like,
Yeah. You're passing
Outsource
it
it.
on to somebody else. Yeah, you're exporting
Yeah.
it to somebody
Yeah.
else, you know, and
because like because it's also like I feel like I've told the stories that I want to so far, and like I'm waiting to find another story that I can tell. But until then, might as well find someone that's already passionate about something and
oh yeah, totally.
let them tap into that. energy.
Yeah, because it reminds me of about the Humans of New York. You know, that guy, he just
Yeah.
took the photo and just listened to people. He really was just just recording history, you know, recording
Yeah.
somebody just talking, and those are quite. He didn't seek it out. He just went to everybody
Yeah.
because everyone has a story. So it's like you're
It's
kind of-
easier, yeah. It's also I think if you look at everyone that's like incredible podcaster or storytellers themselves, there's a point where they've switched from doing it themselves and they're just like tapping into other people's stories.
Right.
That's what journalism does as well. It's like
that's journalism 101.
yeah,
right
it's
there.
like it's like don't try to always make the story about yourself, and that's what I think. I also see it as an issue a lot of times with like the YouTube culture because it's so me focused.
I know. Yeah,
And I think
realize
that's
that
also
too.
like why I was so off put for so long because I didn't think I was like
Likewise.
this seems like this is just like a very egocentric thing to do,
Totally.
and then you realize wait you don't need to do it like that.
Nope.
It's like it can be about everyone else.
Yeah, because it's open. That's
Yeah.
the great thing about YouTube. But yeah, you're so true. It's so true. I mean, like you get sucked in, especially when you go to particular events.
Oh, yeah.
You just see so many me egos instead of like what. There's so much of that good quality content online
Yeah.
too. It's just it's swallowed up by what
because
we
there's
see all
various
the time.
personalities and like
Yeah,
obviously
of
there need to
course.
be because like there's
Yeah.
you need pillars of the community
You
that
need them. Yeah.
like bring a brand and those people tend to be like have a bigger ego and that's
Yeah.
fine but
Yeah.
it just
because that's the marketers love that. You know, so that's how it goes. But
because like it's also like it's cheaper to produce that kind of content a lot of times. So I get it.
So how do you find your process right now? So say I come to you with a project and I have a story. I mean, and like, what is your flow now when you don't have to worry about the story so much? Do you?
Well, it's like I still focus about the story. Like obviously, like I care about it.
Yeah.
It's more like it's like when someone comes to me with an idea, I'm like, okay, does this have legs to stand on? That's kind of the idea. It's like.
That's the first thing you think
That's
about.
the first thing, yeah. It's
Nice.
like, is it something, because like right now I don't want to do one-offs because like it's just, they cost too much upfront to like do sustainably.
Right.
And like I don't want to be known as doing one-offs anyways. Like I want to be known doing series because
you want to do long form.
Yeah, because that's what interests me.
Nice.
At least right now. Unless like someone like gave me like an incredible one-off where it's like this is like a feature-length film and like that, okay, yes. But like I need, like when someone comes to me, like we have that conversation, like what do you want to be doing? Like realistically, and then I hear their story, and then I give them ideas of like, okay, this is how we can film it, like this, or this, and then I see like what they want as well, because like at that point it's a coming of creators, and like we see like what's possible and what's not. Yeah. So like right now, like I'm in talks with doing a certain series, and like the way the person pitched it to me, she actually wanted to do a very coffee, like comedians getting coffee. No, yeah, comedians and cars getting coffee esque. So yeah, and like I think what she meant by that is like she wanted it to look very professional and high quality. And I was like, okay, the way they capture that is by having like literally 3 cameras at all times filming.
All times, yeah.
So it's like
even if it's in a car, you
it's like you just need more operators.
Yeah, you need more.
So I was like, you know what, we can do this. This is like how much it's going to cost per episode. Like we can do this, and just like know that there's a cost, and like, being upfront on that front.
No, good, yeah. Huh, interesting. Yeah, guys, I always find that letting people know or not know the costs is always a deal breaker on how you approach the project.
Like that's the thing. Like right now, it's like I feel like I'm a bit in limbo because I told her the cost right off the bat when she asked like, oh, can we do it like this? I'm like, oh yeah, we can do it, and then like immediately I jumped to the cost. I'm like, should I have just been like, oh yeah, we can do this? It's gonna like require a crew, and that's fine. I don't know.
I think it's both ways. I think it's always good to be upfront about how much it's gonna cost, like because it just puts them back on the ground. And be like, guys, it's not free. Things have costs. If we want to tell this story properly, and have an impact, and have a good return on just return on investment on just viewers. You have to invest dollars. You know, investing dollars is always the way. It's the way. You know, this is.
I know it's the classic triangle where you have quality, time, and cost. And like, there has to be like, if you want high quality and like you don't want it to take too long, the cost is gonna come up. It's just like
cost is gonna come up totally. And like most projects nowadays, and especially if you relate it to TV broadcasts or even Hollywood, which is beyond YouTube, you have to produce a lot. First, there's 2 ways. You either produce a lot on your own, and then somebody tries to buy it off of you, or the other, which never usually happens, is that somebody comes to you, gives you money for a project, and does it. That usually doesn't happen a lot. It's usually the opposite. You make something.
Like you need to have been established to like have that kind of route happen.
Totally. Oh yeah, you have to be super established. So that's almost unheard of. And the other, because I guess watched the episode of Sam and Nico, and they were talking heavily about that, and it reminded me about how the television industry works and how Hollywood works again. I'm like, oh god, I'm getting flashbacks from like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and it's so true. You have to have a pilot, then you have to start pitching it to people. Then if you're lucky, you get somebody who's going to give you a couple episodes to nourish the project. But like you have to make all that stuff on your own right away, and that's that's what's so great about YouTube is that you don't necessarily have. You don't have to necessarily have money to make projects anymore. You can put it out there, produce it, but you're confined to your own self, which is
your
really
own circle.
Which is your own circle, which is really tough.
Yeah, no, I think that's where the cutting edge of YouTube is, and like that's also where you see the big time creators versus the smaller creators right now. Because the big time creators, they're putting money right back into their content.
Right now they are like,
and it seems I think what's scary to everyone like who wants to think of starting
Mm.
is because you look at that content like, how the hell are they doing this? It's like, well, they're not doing it alone anymore.
No, they're not. They're just the
It's a
they're
fu-
just the face, and then there's like 6
Yeah.
people behind them.
But we don't talk about that enough.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Like, and the only people that you see it is only like one channel or 2 channels. Like Philly D
Yeah.
has his second channel, which is just behind the scenes,
Which is great. I
Which
love
is
that they do
oh
that.
yeah, oh it's
I know.
amazing. It's like masterclass every single time. No matter if you look past the comedy and you look past everything else, it's really just this behind the scene workforce of like 4 or 5 editors.
Yeah.
There's a designer who just does design. There's a person who does his scheduling
Yeah.
and the team scheduling, and there's a person who does comments, and there's a whole team that does Patreon. Like you see it's this workhorse
Yeah.
that he's just investing money back in, and the return is so high that everything can be sustained and
Yeah.
everyone can live normally. You know, so it's like a masterclass every day, and I encourage people to watch stuff like that
Yeah.
because it just really grounds you on the business practices. On that. So
Yeah,
it's,
I love how he's so open about that process too.
totally,
Which is nice compared
super
to other people.
transparent. Oh yeah, which is like
Like
there's a wall.
Yeah.
you don't know. It's just like
Casey.
yeah, Casey and many other
Yeah.
people. Like
yeah.
so many. Like,
I know.
Even MKB, I forget his name. He's the guy who has who does a lot of reviews. Anyways, he's starting to get more transparent. I just can't remember his channel's name, but even like Linus Tech Tip is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Like Linus, you can learn a lot for mass produced stuff because those are several channels, and but those are
Yeah.
like I said, it's school in a box. You know, like
It is,
there's no
yeah.
excuse to understand that this is the investment you need to put in if you want something very good quality because you can't do it all by yourself. You're
No.
just gonna go nuts, and
Like you would just be in a hole.
Oh, yeah,
Especially if
just be in a
like
hole,
unless
totally.
you are throwing
Emotionally.
quality out the window.
yeah. Oh yeah, if you're throwing quality out the window, yeah, totally.
But like I think there's a point where like you really care about the quality and like you can't just like I feel like you would destroy your own soul if like you're just
Totally.
producing shit every day.
Oh yeah, totally. And it's just like
Yeah.
it's either people who are producing by themselves, they either produce something very simple and good quality, but they don't drain
Yeah.
themselves.
Or
you
they
know?
don't like post it as often.
Right,
So,
they don't post as often. Sorry,
I'm
that's what
thinking
I
like
meant.
the screenwriter.
Oh yeah, the
Like-
nerd writer.
no, sorry, the nerd writer. Yeah,
Oh, nerd writer.
Yeah, the nerd
That's
writer.
quality, you know?
Yeah, because what he posts once a
yeah,
week,
once a week, every
Yeah,
Wednesday.
every Wednesday.
Yeah.
but it's quality
Mhm.
because he's taking that time.
Yeah, he's taking that time.
And, like you're not getting sucked into like you need to be pushing out daily content, and
yeah.
it's that issue I find where YouTube has like pushed it down our throats that you need to be producing like tons and tons and tons of content because they want that.
Because that's the mantra for the past
Yeah.
2 years. The mantra of YouTube recently was just produce.
Yeah.
The algorithm likes just being swallowing up content and then splurging out, clicks for certain people. And yeah, so it's but that shouldn't be the mantra.
It
The mantra is changing ever
is.
so slowly because right now a lot of people are just comfortable with the good stuff that's coming out. Like a lot of people do watch H3
Yep.
and Dan and Philly and Corridor, all those big ones. And then there's also like the crap out there. But I mean, like that's being just splurged out. So
Yeah.
I think people just need to focus more on quality. If you're a creator,
I think it's just because
know.
like it's just that shift right now that we have from like it didn't seem legit before,
yeah.
and now people realize, wait, this is a real industry.
Yeah, it's a real industry,
Yeah, like-
and now it's being split so much with
Yeah.
Twitch and all those things. So
Oh, man, yeah.
those are all different ways that it's switching to television. Like Twitch is television, basically. Like broadcast ready
Yeah.
television. Like if you want to do a podcast with like 4 or 5 cameras, you go to Twitch.
Yep.
And all these types of things like that. But to find inspiration, it's still there, and I think more than ever, it's still the Wild West, and anybody can make. It's all a matter of make good content.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting world. We were touching on that even in the last episode, and just how can't fall into that trap of just being told constantly make content, because
Because it's an easy trap to fall
Yeah,
into.
it's easy
Because you
trap,
feel
yeah.
like you're getting left behind if you don't
Yeah.
all the time.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're always left behind, but you have to realize you're always behind.
I
So
know.
just make stuff. Who
I
cares?
know.
Make
I
stuff
think
at your own pace.
That was the thing. It's like because I took 4 months off
Right.
from daily vlogging, and I felt like I was behind
yeah.
in a way.
That's
I was
the
like-
side effect.
it
of,
was.
of the ebb of what YouTube is, and that's the bad ebb of it. I think.
Yeah.
I think when you go to events and you go and you see how all these people are just workaholics, like at specific events, you meet some people that
Yeah.
are just like, all I do is create, and you see it in
Yeah.
their eyes that they haven't slept in a year, and you're like,
Yeah.
ooh. And
They're like
that's-
you're just burned out.
Yeah, you're burned out.
Yeah.
Why don't you just take a break? And like we were saying at the beginning of the show, I think like taking a break,
It's
letting
good,
things just
yeah.
settle down because that's how the body
Yeah.
works.
It's also like if you look at Hollywood, that's why they take, the summer off.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Totally.
Like their seasons are like 7 months,
oh yeah,
less
that's it.
a
Or
lot of
that, yeah.
times,
Yeah,
because they need
totally.
that time.
They need that time.
They,
It's
like,
just like
yeah.
to
And like YouTube, I don't think enough creators feel like they are allowed to do that.
mm-hmm. And I've seen a lot of burnout episodes. People who just admit they're burned out, and they sometimes even stop forever.
Yeah,
Or and I'm like,
which is worse.
Which is worse. I'm like, because we're in terms of like an editor's view of point of it. Like for me, I don't want the clicks. I just want somebody to understand the story.
Yeah.
Even if it's only 100 views, even if it's only 2 views, if it's 100,000 views, that's great too. But
Yeah.
a lot of people, a lot of those creators, they're constantly looking at that view. That
which
view
is
count.
so hard. And like
Yeah.
I know people who they get sucked into their Social Blade scores.
Oh my gosh, social blade.
Yeah, and it's just like
Do everyone a favor. Look it up once a year. You'll
Yeah.
live a lot better.
well, and I feel because like it's also, I think I understand when like it's your career and like this is how you're making money and like
Sure, okay.
then yeah, but like before that it's like this is this is your hobby.
Yeah, but even at that point, even
Yeah.
if you're at the point of this is your career, you're getting a steady flow of money. So what is
Yeah.
it? Is it really about making more or keeping the amount of money you're making? Because I know in
Yeah,
that
I
world,
think it's
it
also
fluctuates
ego.
all the time. It's a lot of ego.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
but I think it's also
the-
people not thinking about how to diversify at that point.
Yeah, they're caught in their own rat race in
Yeah.
YouTube. There's a rat race in YouTube as well as they're in the real world. So you imagine you have both of those worlds colliding, and you're just like, what am I supposed to do?
Mhm.
What am I supposed to be doing every single day and trying to make some money?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it's a peculiar thing, and I'm curious when I go. When we go, I think you're going to Buffer as
Yeah,
well. Like
we're both
I'm
gonna be
curious.
there.
I'm curious to see how a year has gone by
Yeah.
and the transition between what has happened. Because last year people were complaining about the apocalypse and a lot of different
Yeah.
types of things, and there was a struggle. And I hope I get to see that people are prospering more
Mhm.
and people are feeling the urge more to do not cooperative things. What was it? Collaborations.
Yeah.
Because last year I felt collaborations were at an all-time low, and I feel
Mhm.
that has grown with the content I've seen, because I know
Yeah.
SourceFed broke up, and so a lot of
Yeah.
the SourceFed people made their own things and worked with each other and made
Mhm.
some good collaborative efforts, and some of their
Yeah.
stuff is really good. Like there's a good thing with the Sib. I don't know from. And he has a thing called Car Stories or something like that,
Mhm.
and it's really great. It's just like GoPro in the middle, and they drive in the.
Yeah.
It's stupid. That's a super fancy car, but I mean, like they're out of character and they talk normally instead
Mhm.
of their actual characters, like Steve Suptic
Yeah.
and stuff like that. You actually see them in their true form,
Yeah.
which I enjoy way more than their
Of course.
narrative.
Yeah.
But their narrative is very well done too. It's
Mhm.
actually a very good way of vlogging. It's like a narrative vlogging,
Yeah.
and it's clean and it's funny, but it's fake. Like semi-fake.
Yeah.
He runs through his life, but like
It's somewhat scripted.
yeah, it's somewhat scripted. But I like that type of storytelling, and it's
Mhm.
way, for me, I think it's my own personal taste. It's
Yeah.
way better than what the Casey Est or Peter McKinnon. These are
Mhm.
people. But Peter, I'll be actually seeing at Buffer, so it's just like
Yeah.
I feel he's the Canadian Casey. I don't
He
want
is.
to. I hope he never sees it, but I think he's the Canadian Casey. But
He is.
but-
But I think he has done it a different way, at least because he does do a lot more tutorials. At least.
yeah, tutorials. Yeah, because that's his thing. It's tutorials.
That was that's how he started. And
oh
then,
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then the vlogging thing, I think he's grabbed onto what Sean Duras and Casey have been doing. So I saw something just yesterday. I was just like, wow, it just looks like
Yeah.
why do you need to document this moment? Why don't you just live life and just do your tutorials? Because
Yeah.
I feel his tutorials are valid, and they seriously have made him very popular and
Mhm.
also. Yeah, but
Like,
it's just funny.
I'll be honest. I have his one of his color grades.
yeah, his
packs, like his LUTs,
color,
yeah.
his LUTs. Yeah, his LUTs are pretty okay.
Yeah, they're decent.
Yeah, they're totally okay. But I feel like
Used them on the edit this morning.
but it's just but like I wanted to go back to the algorithm. It's like
Yeah.
it's like between him and Casey's videos whenever they upload
Mhm.
now. So it's like you don't even make unless it's non-tutorial. Like tutorial based is very good, but
Yeah.
just funny how how those things work and like
Mhm.
how people are storytelling a specific way. And it'll be fun to go to Buffer and see how that works out.
Yeah.
I hope we can we're going to hopefully get several people to do
Mhm.
some of the
Hopefully, we'll try to
podcasts,
line
yeah.
up some interviews.
Oh, we're gonna have I think we're gonna have a decent lineup,
Mhm.
about 3-4 people. So
Yeah.
it'll be cool to get this going more, because especially in Canada, we're all stuck at a computer screen still, you know?
We
Like,
are. We are
completely stuck at the computer
I
screen.
know. I
editing.
still want to go out to LA just to see how the industry works out there for a while.
Oh yeah, totally.
'Cause
That'd
it's-
be interesting because here, no, anywhere in Canada, it's either a 2 or 3 man team.
Operations,
I haven't
yeah.
seen big ones yet here. It
No.
doesn't exist except for like super corporate, right? Like,
Yeah.
corporate's different, right? We know the corporate
Yeah,
world.
corporate. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
there's
so
a
it's
difference
like-
between.
Like corporate YouTube,
Yeah.
not corporate YouTube like The Office, but I mean the corporate YouTube is in like big mega industries.
Yeah, we're
capitalizing
just on the
YouTube.
piggybacking on YouTube,
Yeah, piggybacking on
Yeah.
YouTube, and they're and you know
optimizing all the algorithms and
totally
like taking advantage of it.
taking advantage of it and making money.
Yeah.
But I mean like real teams, like you know,
People like who are there as creators.
Yeah.
Not
So you
just-
think you're gonna go? You're gonna go down?
Yeah,
there?
100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I'm.
You have to document that.
I know. That was also like I think
Yeah.
why I was like I'll get back into daily vlogging for all this stuff because like I'm
Mhm.
planning on doing so many festivals this year, especially because I have my student discount still.
Mhm.
So it's like that's the perfect outlet.
Right. Yeah, it's perfect outlet. You wanted to
Yeah.
go to Sundance, maybe? Huh?
Yeah. Oh, Sundance is like 100%.
Really?
That is like the one I have been wanting to go to for years.
Mm-hmm.
I will claw my way there if need be.
Oh, okay,
like I would
good.
walk to Sundance
Nice.
if need be
Wow.
in winter
In winter, my gosh.
just to get to Utah.
Make sure you find a good internet connection. We'll have to do a live, like
Right,
after
yeah.
fest, you know, like get that whole
Mhm.
roundup of like what's going on because
Oh yeah,
it's
it's gonna be nuts.
oh
It's-
it's nuts, you
yeah.
know, like yeah.
yeah, no, and then I like recently found out there's a Tribeca TV festival.
Tribeca, I know.
Yeah, no, not the Tribeca Festival.
No,
but the
Tribeca TV, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I might go to that one as well.
Nice.
They have a really interesting like a VR
oh, VR
experience.
Alright.
So, and that's
Oh, my
like if you get a
gosh.
ticket to any show, like you get into the VR for free. So I'm like,
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Make
it's
it a
'cause they want
weekend.
people to get in the door. You know, they want
Exactly.
people to get exposed to that because
Yeah.
that's the only way to do it. I
Mhm.
just saw a couple days ago too a good trailer with. It was actually a film produced by Anthony Bourdain,
oh,
a new documentary about food waste,
ooh,
and it's incredible. It's by and the production company I think is called Spork or Spark or something like that.
Mhm.
But it's their only trailer on their channel, which is
Yeah.
on their YouTube channel. But it's like they.
But it's
they-
Anthony
they got-
Bourdain, so,
yeah, it's Anthony Bourdain,
yeah.
and they got very good reviews after Tribeca.
Mhm.
And I saw the trailer, and I'm like, this is really, really quite good.
Yeah.
And he, like, it just opens with him saying, "I didn't even want to do this film because I feel like I want to go into a corner and just die." I'm like, wow, what a well thought out beginning for a trailer. Like, I haven't seen anybody be brutally honest in front of a trailer
Yeah.
in any story, documentary, film, anything. I'm like, that's really good.
that's raw.
You know, that's raw right there, you
Mhm.
know? And then the rest of it was very good, like very well cut as well. It was one of the best well cut trailers under 3 minutes I've seen
Oh,
in a
wow.
long time. For a documentary, I couldn't believe it. I was
Okay.
like, wow, this is really good. I really now want to find out if it's here.
Mhm.
And that's the thing with editing, you know, when you have a good editor like that,
Yeah.
I want to know who it is. I didn't get a chance to see who was the editor, but I'm sure I know who it might be.
Mhm.
But like studying those types of things and just studying the way they story tell
Yeah.
as an editor,
Mhm.
it's like you're not even as an editor, sometimes you're never even at the shoot.
Yeah.
You just sit there and you get footage coming
Yeah,
in.
you just get a script and the
Yeah.
footage, and then
and you're like, okay.
or like documentary just footage.
Yeah. And then sometimes
Yeah.
you don't have the director there. So you
Not
have
at
to
all.
so you have to make a cut. And you're like, okay, I'm just gonna make a cut, see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling if it's the right person, it was done maybe once or twice, 1 or 2 cuts,
Really?
done, you know? Because it's just
Yeah.
like
That's skill
it's
at that point.
skill, you know, it's skill and it's so much exposure to like, and that's I always try to tell people and even tell myself, I'm like, just film footage,
Mhm.
cut it up, make sense out of it.
Yeah.
Even if you want, and even if there's never been narration or there's no script, add some narration to it.
Mhm.
It might add a little bit difference to it. Like it's an experiment.
Yeah.
You know, always treat those little extra projects on the side as experiment. Maybe it never sees the light of day, but it's just
It's just practice.
It's just super good practice and just yeah, it's very enjoyable stuff. So that's exciting.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hope
It's-
the vlogging goes well for you.
I know. Hopefully, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
We'll see if I get drained again. But
Oh, but like you know,
Yeah.
and the first 2-3 months, I always said 8 minutes. 8 minutes. I
yeah.
have to do 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Every day. I'm like. Then I
see,
realized no.
I always did like I aim for 2 minutes.
That's good.
I like
That's
I
good.
don't.
2 minutes could be a lot.
It is because like I'm
Yeah.
also like I like to be concise anyways.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. I am a long-winded individual, so like I know I need to constrain myself. Otherwise, I
Uh-huh.
am just going to
Could be 45
ramble
minutes.
on.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
could be 45.
easily.
Yeah, easily.
So
yeah.
just like to also save myself in editing, it's like no, it's gonna be short, quick, to the point.
good.
Because also like the how I structure the vlogs, it's not as much like capturing my day to day, but it's like more capturing a thought that I have in that.
Yeah,
day.
because that's a totally different style.
Yeah.
of vlog
Mhm.
is that the day to day, and then
Yeah.
there's also just the thought based ones. Then there's also the single experience based ones,
Mhm.
and there's like several other
There's
ones.
so
that are
many
like that.
different subgenres.
Yeah,
of that at this
subgenres
point.
of that. But I mean, like when you're just doing like narration or just a thought.
Yeah.
I think 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you get
Mhm.
to the point, and cut, done. You know. But yeah, that's exciting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm
8
looking
minutes.
forward.
Yeah, I almost died after 8 minutes. Like
Yeah,
that was my
because it
point.
just,
was
like-
then I said, doesn't matter how many minutes anymore. If I
Yeah.
only have 2 minutes, it's a 2-minute vlog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Mhm.
exciting. I
Yeah,
can't wait
I'm looking for
to see them. It's gonna
Mhm.
be back on the George Poppy channel.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
How do you
not-
pronounce? Is it Poppy?
It's Poppy. Yeah.
Okay, it's not. It's like
I
Poppy,
know.
like the
Yeah, I
flower.
like the flower.
Like the flower.
I
Cool,
know.
okay,
Yeah, no.
okay.
I've always debated like if I was gonna name the channel Dropping In or George Poppy, but I think I'm actually gonna do George Poppy and just like
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that be
yeah.
like personal brand.
That's nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
personal brand's good. It's always good to have that to fall back on.
Yeah.
Because you do have, you also have Dropping In as a
Yeah,
channel
I
too.
do. Well, no, it's
No?
like Dropping In. It just like it changed from Dropping In to George Poppy.
Oh,
yeah,
it
because like
did?
it was still under the 100 subscriber limit. So
Ah.
I need to get to my 100 subscribers to actually get a
okay.
legitimate name.
Oh, you'll get there.
I know.
You'll get there. It takes time, you know.
That's
I'm
it.
about to break 600 and it's been 10 years, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just.
It's a number.
It's a number.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It's also this is the nice part about having a unique name. I know that
Mm.
whenever I get there, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, someone took my name.
No, right. Exactly. Yeah, if that's what you want for the. Yeah, it's totally true.
Yeah.
Huh. Exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's. I think that's
I
a
think
good way to
yeah, it's a good way to
end the
wrap.
show today. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's episode 6. Wow.
episode 6. We're getting there. We're
We're-
getting
yeah.
there.
We're working our way
New,
up.
By New Year's, it'll be about 20.
Because we told Justin we get him back at 30.
Oh yeah, 30, and that'll be probably
Or no,
spring.
wait, was it
That'll be at
30 or
spring.
was it higher?
I'll have to look at the. Well, you have to look at the footage.
Yeah, I'll
of
have to
that
look at
one.
the footage. I'll look
I
at that.
thought it was 42. It was like some number.
No,
he
it
didn't
was
like.
42. It was 42.
It was 42 or something like that. He didn't
Yeah,
like that
because-
because he has something with that number or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, this has been an exciting place. I'm going to try to chill out here just a little bit longer and then
Yeah.
go back to work and do more editing.
You mean work from here because
Yeah,
it's such a
work from
nice
here.
atmosphere that you're
Totally.
stimulated.
Yeah, I'm so stimulated, and then
Yeah.
I hope that they continue this on and on
Mhm.
for next year as well.
Yeah.
And be sure to check it out if you're in the area.
Mhm.
It's here until the 17th of September. When after that everything becomes more chilly.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm Nick,
I'm George.
and we'll talk to you guys next time. See ya.
See you then.
Bye.